The night had fallen heavy over the small Arizona town, its silence broken only by the low hum of gas pumps and the flickering neon light of a deserted station sign. Officer Claire Donovan, a young woman in her early 30s, stood alone near her patrol car, filling out her final report for the shift. She'd joined the force to make a difference, to stand between danger and the innocent. But she didn't know that this night, behind the gas station on Route 9, would test her courage in a way no academy ever could. She heard laughter first, low, mocking, and getting closer. 3 figures emerged from the shadows, their tattoos glowing faintly in the harsh fluorescent light. Their boots scraped the asphalt like a warning. Claire's pulse quickened. She reached for her radio, but the signal here was dead. The men spread out, circling her, their smirks wide and cruel. "What's a pretty cop doing out here all alone?" one of them sneered. Before she could respond, the first blow came, a hard shove that sent her crashing against the pump. Her badge glinted in the dim light, but her authority meant nothing to them now. They wanted to humiliate, to break her spirit, and she could feel it in every sneer, every step closer. If you believe in kindness, courage, and second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps bring more true and emotional stories to life. Her shirt tore under their grip as they laughed, recording her terror on a phone. She fought back, fiercely, desperately, but the odds were merciless. Her body ached, her vision blurred, yet she refused to beg. Claire had faced fear before, but never this kind. Just when one of the men reached for her utility belt, headlights cut through the darkness. A roaring sound followed by the thunder of engines. The smell of gasoline filled the air as a group of Hells Angels bikers rolled into the lot, their leather vests shining under the fluorescent lights. The attackers froze, startled, like wolves caught in a floodlight. The lead biker killed his engine and stepped off his Harley, his boots echoing like gunshots in the stillness. He was tall, scarred, with weathered eyes that had seen too much of the world. His name patch read Rogue. Without a word, he assessed the scene. The trembling female officer, her torn uniform, the men sneering beside her. Then his jaw tightened. What happened next wasn't planned, it was instinct. Rogue's fist met the nearest thug's jaw with a sound like breaking stone. The man fell instantly, his phone skidding across the pavement. The others backed up, shouting curses, but the rest of the Angels stepped forward in formation, not as outlaws tonight, but as protectors. The fight was short but brutal. The bikers fought like men defending their own code, one built not on law but on loyalty, on right and wrong carved into the soul by the road. When it was over, the thugs lay groaning in the dirt, their arrogance drained into fear. Claire stood trembling, breathing hard, tears stinging her eyes as Rogue turned to her. "You okay, officer?" he asked, his voice gravelly but calm. She nodded, unable to speak. He pulled off his jacket and gently draped it over her torn uniform, looking away to give her dignity. It was a small gesture, but it shattered the wall she'd built between criminal and protector. The gas station lights flickered again as sirens finally approached, responding far too late. Claire gave her statement quietly, but she didn't mention everything. She didn't say how one of the world's most feared biker groups had shown her what true brotherhood looked like. The deputies who arrived eyed the bikers with suspicion, but Claire stopped them. "They saved my life," she said firmly, her voice trembling but strong. Rogue met her eyes one last time before nodding to his crew. "Let's roll," he said, and just like that they were gone. Engines roaring into the darkness, leaving behind nothing but tire marks and silence. Days turned into weeks, but Claire couldn't forget that night. Every time she looked at her uniform, she remembered the jacket that had covered her shame and the man who'd handed it over without judgment. She asked around quietly, learning that Rogue had once been a soldier, a man who'd lost his family and found his peace on the road. People called him an outlaw, but she now knew better. Sometimes angels wear leather instead of wings. One evening, she found herself driving along the edge of the desert, the sunset bleeding red across the sky. She spotted the same Harley parked outside a rundown diner. Her heart pounded as she walked in. Rogue looked up, surprised but not unkind. They talked for a while, about justice, about how the world often confuses good men for bad ones, and how sometimes redemption wears scars. She thanked him for that night, but he just shrugged. "We ain't heroes," he said. "We just did what decent men should do." That sentence burned into her heart. A few months later, Claire organized a charity ride for fallen officers and victims of violence. To everyone's shock, dozens of Hell's Angels showed up, engines roaring in unity with police bikes. It was a sight the town had never seen, the law and the outlaws riding side by side for something greater than either side alone. The media tried to twist the story, but the truth was undeniable. Compassion had bridged a divide that fear never could. That day, when the parade ended, Claire found Rogue again. He handed her a small patch, an angel's wing stitched in red. "For courage," he said softly. She pinned it inside her uniform close to her heart, but destiny wasn't done with them. Months later, Claire responded to a highway crash. A semi overturned, flames licking the sky. The driver trapped inside was wearing a leather vest, the same emblem that had once come to her rescue. Without hesitation, she crawled into the wreckage, cutting through the twisted metal, pulling him out with burns on her arms. When the paramedics arrived, they recognized him, one of Rogue's men. That night, as she sat by his hospital bed, she realized something powerful. Kindness always circles back, even through smoke and fire. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Every click helps spread true humanity in a world that desperately needs it. Weeks later, Rogue visited the station, carrying a small box. Inside was a handcrafted badge, half police, half angel wing, engraved with the words, "Respect is earned." He told her that the angels had taken up a new cause, protecting women and children from violence wherever the law couldn't reach. The man who once lived outside the law now stood beside it. The night at the gas station had changed more than just Claire. It had changed them all. As Claire stood watching the bikers roar off once again, she felt tears rise, not from fear but from gratitude. She realized that courage isn't just about standing up to evil, it's about seeing the good in those the world refuses to understand. Behind the gas station that night, she'd lost her fear and found her faith in humanity. Special request, comment below. What would you have done if you were in Claire's place that night? Because sometimes, the people we fear the most become the ones who teach us the meaning of true bravery. And sometimes, angels ride motorcycles,